الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وآله وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين. We are looking at David Harvey's conception of anti-value. It has been a while since we did this, so I'm just going back a bit. We had actually covered this just to keep the continuity and just to remind ourselves what we had covered already. So for Harvey, the concept of anti-value provides a key to understanding these dynamics of capitalism, I guess. And through a close reading of Marx, so Marx is important for him, as we have seen already, but for his conception of anti-value, Marx is very important. Harvey argues that value always exists in relation to its negation. Anti-value. So anti-value is the negation of value. Okay, let's pause on this because it's important. Sorry, I didn't record that. So what I said was the value is of two types. Use value. So in capitalism, use value is only secondary. Real value for capitalism is exchange value, and exchange value is a real value because exchange value makes possible accumulation for the sake of accumulation, which is Marx's term as well, and which is closely related to what people call maximization of profit. And creation of the value means that every transaction has potential in terms of the creation of value, and you want to maximize that potential or maximize the actualization of that potential. Okay. Now values are of so there's a value you want to value, and there's anti-value. So value, there's a transaction, basically exchange value. You want to, every transaction has a potential to create value you want to maximize or actualize, or maximize that potential, or maximize the actualization of that potential. Okay. Now anti-value can kick in at least in two ways in this. Two or three ways anti-value can kick in. So the first one can be, there's a potential, but it is not actualized at all. It's not used at all for whatever reason. So you have created anti-value in that way. And the second way is you have actualized the potential, but not maximized it. So here anti-value is created, and anti-value here is the difference between maximum possible actualization and the actually actualization. And the difference would be anti-value, I guess. And these can be theorized within capitalism in a sense, capitalism with a small c. But for Marx, there is another type of anti-value. The whole system of capitalism is such that it hinders the maximization of the potential, or maximization of the actual value in total. So this sort of systemic unrealization of value that's also create anti-value, but this anti-value is at the level of the system. I think Marx is more concerned with this rather than this, and he brings in 1 and 2 only to illustrate 3, but his main concern is with the structural arrangement of actually existing what he calls market-based capitalism or something like that. So that third part is really a Marxist focus. We don't know what is the focus of Harvey. I don't remember what we did last time, so we'll see. But these 3 distinctions are important. Okay, back to the text. Harvey argues that value always exists in relation to its negation, anti-value. So now I'm just going to stop only at where we hadn't already covered something. Whenever the circulation of capital stalls, value is temporarily negated. So I guess this is our first type, because circulation has stalled. If commodities cannot be sold, for instance, value cannot be realized. So this is first type in our categorization. First type of any. And during a crisis, capital undergoes a general devaluation. So this is probably second type. And since crisis is part and parcel of capitalism, so this happens a lot. Anti-value is thus omnipresent, a permanently disruptive force in the very gut of capitalism because of the crisis of capital circulation. The credit system, Harvey argues, helps prevent devaluation by facilitating credit system. The passage from production to realization. It gives money to producers so they can produce, and it gives money to the buyers, they can buy those production, and so you can realize some value. It also ensures that money taken out of circulation through savings. Now, savings is anti-value in the first sense, because it's not being used according to Harvey, or it is not being used as it should be. So it can be first as well as second. It also ensures that money taken out of circulation through savings, anti-value, is returned to circulation as interest-bearing capital value. Okay, so interest is paid on savings, so they can part and parcel. I don't know whether that's the purpose of the actual, but that's the function anyway, or part of function anyway. Okay. Okay, but the credit system also produces anti-value in the form of debt. Now, for Harvey, debt is anti-value. How is debt anti-value? If debt is creating value in the first place, then how can it be anti-value? Anyway, we'll see. Harvey defines debt as anti-value because it involves claims on future value production. Meaning, capitalists must produce value to pay off debts, just as working people must labor to overcome their debts. As such, debt generates an imperative for expanded production and provides a powerful tool for disciplining the working class. Yet the capitalist system contains a dangerous tendency toward the spiraling expansion of debt. Yeah, the danger exists that the economic system will collapse under the dead weight of value. Don't you want that? Why? Yeah. I mean, if system, so that's the system level anti-value. Then system won't exist, so no value would be created. But if the system is, by collapsing the system, but if it, so there are two types of collapse, which, at least according to Marx, um, I don't know whether Harvey or no. Let's look at that, and then we'll come back to the text if needed. Okay, so anti-value is if that goes out of hand and the system collapses, system of the creation of value is collapses in as a result of that collapse. So system can collapse. Current system, market-based system, is collapse. So that will create anti-value according to Marx's perspective only if it has created anti-value at the system level, because the system which was creating value no longer exists, so value will be zero. But that's only if system collapses and it is not replaced by another superior system. But for example, if it is replaced by a socialist system where there won't be much waste apparently, then this is no anti-value, according to Marxist anyway. I don't know about Harvey. Probably yeah. He might have talked about it, but so far I haven't seen anything. And yeah, so there's a so if it collapses, even then there is a distinction. So that to collapse, system collapse. So no alternative. So then it creates huge anti-value. But system collapse alternative, which is superior alternative. I mean, there's an alternative which is equal, a superior alternative. If it is equal alternative, so you still have anti-value is created because of the transition, but you will be able to go back to where you were creating value. But there is a lot of anti-value created because a lot of time is wasted. But if superior system is created, then there would be some anti-value created in a short run, but in the long run we will overcome the waste and creation of anti-value, or will be able to maximize value. So in that case, anti-value is created in short run but is overcome in the long run. So these are all possibilities. When that becomes so huge that there is no possibility for future value production to redeem it, then that peonage, debt slavery rules. We celebrate Athens of the past as the cradle of democracy. The Athens of today is epitome of undemocratic debt peonage. I mean, that's not important. It's just a high-flying conception of democracy. And Marxists have this romantic conception of democracy. For working people, that peonage means the future is already foretold and foreclosed. So this is the case when there's no transition to a superior system. The actual system consists and try to rebuild. So there's a lot of anti-value created, and the burden is unequally shared by working class, etc. Trapped in debt, they are forced to work their entire lives with little hope that they will ever be free of debt. Presumably, according to Marx, they should, rise up, but they are not rising. For states like Greece, it means the end of democracy through subjugation to the will of bondholders and financiers. So that's bad for democracy. But is that bad for capitalism as well? That's not clear, because through this bondage or subjugation, a lot of value is created for Germany and France, for example. Okay, I think we'll stop here and we'll continue from